So is Izotope Ozone 10 worth buying or upgrading if you have one of the older versions? I've been using Ozone since version 8 and I've always been getting decent results with it, and considering that I mostly master my own tracks, I'm not a mastering engineer, it's been very helpful with its Master Assistant feature to provide you with a starting point, but still enabling you to customize your master, unlike all these automated AI mastering services that just give you fixed results without the possibility for any tweaks. And version 9 introduced some nice new features and modules, however I wasn't really using all the new modules, so it didn't really improve the results that I was getting with version 8, and the Master Assistant was doing mostly the same thing, using mostly the modules that it was using in version 8. However, with version 10, this has changed. The Master Assistant is vastly improved. They've introduced a couple of new modules, the Stabilizer and the Impact module, which add subtle but really nice improvements to your masters. And in this video I'm going to be mastering a track using Ozone 10's Master Assistant and checking out the new modules and features. There's the caveat though about the new modules, the Stabilizer and the Impact. They are only available in the advanced version of Ozone. So if you're considering getting Komplete 14, because Ozone is now included in this bundle, unfortunately the version that is bundled with Komplete 14 is the standard version and it doesn't include the Stabilizer and the Impact modules. Before we begin, I just want to quickly point out that I've been provided early access to Ozone 10 Advanced for free. However, this is not a sponsored video, and of course if you want to support the channel, there is an affiliate link in the description of the video, where if you buy Ozone through that link, I will receive a small commission, but I'm in no way pushing you to buy it. The idea of the video is for you to make up your own mind if it's worth it and get it only if you need it, because the previous versions still work and still do a pretty decent job. Having said that, let's get into trying to master a track with Ozone 10's Master Assistant and check out the new features. Now, first of all, please make sure you're using good headphones or studio monitors, because the differences in mastering are usually quite subtle and they will probably get lost if you're watching the video on your phone or something like that. However, I have to point out that for the purposes of this video, I've tried to find my muddiest and not really great sounding mix, because if you really use good samples and do a good arrangement and composition and mix your track really well, mastering doesn't really make much of a difference. So this is not to imply that Ozone should be used to fix your bad mixes. The best thing to do is really start your mastering session with a great sounding mix, but in this case the mix is a bit muddy, so let's see what Ozone can do. Okay, so we have Ozone loaded and I click on the Master Assistant button. It's waiting for me to play the audio. Let's play it. What we're now seeing is the improved Master Assistant view, where it shows us the tonal curve of our track. It also has these genres here, so we can select a targeted genre and it applies the characteristics of chart-stopping hits to our master. So besides the tonal characteristic that you see prominently displayed here on the main window, we also have width match down here that is done through the imager module, the dynamics match, which is the impact module, and the maximizer module. And of course, the nice thing about Ozone is that you can switch to your regular view and you have access to all the modules that are processing your master, and you can customize it as much as you like. First thing I'm gonna do is do a gain matched bypass. So when you compare your mastered track to your non-mastered track, obviously the mastered one is gonna sound better because it's louder. That's why you have the option to gain match your mastered and unmastered version to hear them at the same loudness, and that is the best way to figure out what changes the mastering has done to your track. So I'm first gonna play it without the Ozone processing and then I'm gonna switch it on. So it has definitely added a bit of clarity to my mix, and what I like about Ozone 10 that was earlier introduced in Izotope's mixing tool, which is Neutron, is this amount setting for all modules, or for most of the modules, that, as we see on the tooltip, scales the gain of all filters in the EQ curve in this case. So this means that I can adjust the amount of processing that this module is doing without actually adjusting all the separate bands. That was what I used to do in the previous version. So this is a really, really nice feature. So maybe the EQ curve is a bit drastic, so let's adjust it. There we go. I think it was a bit too much. Let's go to the stabilizer module. So the stabilizer module, one of the highlights of this release, is an intelligent adaptive EQ that tames resonances and basically enables you to get a good tonal balance out of your master really easily. And so in this case, you will hear how it adds a subtle brightness and removes some muddiness in the low mids. So let's turn off the equalizer and hear what the stabilizer does to the frequency response. So this is at 0 amount with the stabilizer, and I'm gonna be increasing it as we play the track. I think it did a really great job, and it also has some presets for different genres. And with the stabilizer you also have the delta mode, where you turn it on and you only monitor the difference between the processed signal and the unprocessed, so we can hear what it has done to our track. So this is basically what the stabilizer added to our track. And you have two modes: shape, which boosts or cuts, or cut mode, which only applies cuts. Let's get on with the impact module, and this is one that controls micro dynamics for each frequency range. So we have the low frequencies, the low mids, the mid frequencies, and the high frequencies. So you see these sliders down here. As you move them up, it expands the dynamics of certain frequency, and as you move it down, compresses it. So this expansion feature, I think, is great if you have some mix that is too squashed or too compressed, and of course it cannot completely fix it, but it can help in this regard. Some other new features: this is the recover size feature here on the imager module, which is great for reducing stereo width without compromising mono compatibility. So this makes sure that your track sounds great in mono without you actually losing any information, which is often a problem that arises from phase cancellation when your left and right channel are summed in mono. You also have this clipper in the maximizer, which can help you extract even more loudness from your master without compromising the sound quality. And also, as you can see, the maximizer has set the ceiling to -1 dB. This was also present in the previous version of Ozone, because as you can see here on the master assistant, we've selected streaming, and streaming platforms require that your masters are peaking at -1 dB, because otherwise the codecs that are encoding your audio may introduce some distortions. And so if you choose DJ player, you can see that the ceiling is no longer at -1 dB, because for DJ purposes you would want a louder master. So to answer the question straightforward, is it worth getting? I think it definitely is. I'm not saying that the older versions will not do a good job still. However, this one makes it easier for you to get really good results. You have the improved master assistant. Actually, I feel it's better for providing you with a really good master without you doing anything straight out of the box, even though some tweaks are probably always going to be needed. But if you don't know anything about mastering, it can definitely provide some good results. Hope the video was useful to you, and I will see you in the next one.